All right, Nick, let's talk about the Colorado Buffs. I think this is a team that has done a lot of great things this offseason. We talked about Coach Prime came in. He really got the hype train going around the Buffs. They did a little bit of proving a bit, but I think this offseason he's made most significant changes for the Buffs going forward. I think we're going to see a completely different team hit the field next season. And this latest news is part of the reason as to why we're going to see that. Let's get in the article and talk about it on the other side. This, of course, is over from on Buffalo's Wire. It says Colorado football head coach Deion Sanders is expected to hire Cincinnati Bengals secondary coach Robert Livingston as the Buffs' new defensive coordinator. As reported by NFL insider Ian Rappaport, Livingston first joined the Bengals in 2012 as a scout before becoming an on-field coach in 2015. This past season was Livingston's 8th year as the Bengals secondary coach. During his time in Cincinnati, Livingston worked closely with notable Bengals DBs Reggie Nelson, Von Bell, Adam Jones, Jesse Bates III, and former Buff Chidobe Awuzie, among others. This, Nick, I think is a huge move here for the Bengals, a guy that has a long entrenched, coaching ability in the NFL. He was with the team for a very long time because he did a really, really good job. Then bringing in a guy to your coaching staff as defensive coordinator, I think that has cornerback experience is going to be great. I'm curious what your thoughts are on all of this, but Buffs fans, let us know in the comment section below. I think this is kind of rounding out a lot of the changes that Coach Prime is going to make to this staff. Let us know in the comments below, what grade do you give him as far as the coaching changes, the recruiting changes, the transfer portal additions that he's made this offseason? How do you rate the team for this year in the comment section below? But Nick, what are your thoughts on this latest hire by Coach Prime?
Yeah, so when I looked up, I wasn't really familiar when I saw this news with Livingston, and obviously he spent a lot of time, like you alluded to, with the Cincinnati Bengals, but we cover the Bengals a lot on our NFL channel, but I hadn't heard a whole lot about him. Then I looked up into his bio and I did some research, and this guy is literally the definition of a Bengals grinder. He worked through some assistant coaching ranks at the FCS, formerly D1AA level, and then basically became a quality control, coffee fetching grunt guy for the Bengals. Worked his way up to regional scout, which is a really low level position, became a higher quality control guy, became an on-field guy, and eventually worked his way assistant secondary coach, working with some players. And year after year after year, for the better part of since 2012, is when he joined the Cincinnati, I'm sorry, 2012, he joined the Cincinnati Bengals. So better part of 11, 12 years, he worked with the Cincinnati Bengals, grinding is working his way up. And we see this a lot in the NFL with a lot of guys that dedicate themselves to one team, or at least in the NFL, and they start from the bottom because their whole goal, their whole mindset, their whole career is, I want to be an NFL position coach, NFL coordinator, NFL head coach, whatever it is. I am an NFL guy. That's the exact track Livingston was on, and his whole career was following that 100% to a T. But then this interesting thing happened. He leaves the NFL. He leaves the Cincinnati Bengals to join Coach Prime in Colorado. We've talked about it a number of times on this show, the energy, the vibe, the culture that Prime is building. And I think this is such a crazy indicator to me that we're not just seeing talented transfers. We're not seeing talented recruits come to the University of Colorado to be part of what Coach Prime is doing. We're seeing up-and-coming coaching talents that have dedicated literally over a decade to rising through the ranks with one team to pick up everything, pick up their entire lives, and move to a completely brand new program that over the past 2 seasons has won a grand total of 5 games. That speaks to the special environment that Coach Prime is building. That speaks to the energy. And that, to me, is an indicator that this isn't fake. This isn't a flash in the pan. This isn't just, for the Twitter or Instagram or whatever, for the TikTok. This isn't fake stuff. This isn't just trying to get marketing or PR for Coach Prime behind Colorado. A guy like Livingston, a coach of his career point at this point in his career, he hasn't dropped everything. He's literally dedicated his entire professional career, the 99% of it, to rising through the ranks with the Cincinnati Bengals at the NFL level, and then just decides to leave all that behind. Again, dedicated his career. He leaves all that behind to come join Coach Prime in Colorado. That's a sign, folks. That's what we call an indicator. Something special is building in Colorado. And look, I don't know exactly how it'll work. I don't know how good of a defensive coordinator Livingston will be. That we'll see that, of course, over the coming months and years with the Buffs and how their defense improves going forward. And frankly, it is nowhere to go but up. They finished third last in the Pac-12 in passing defense last season. So they certainly could use an upgrade there, at least from a coaching perspective. But again, this is just another indicator that there is a special energy, a special vibe, right? It reminds me, and I use these analogies all the time just because it's so wild. It reminds me of all these crazy startups that come out of nowhere and then just build a new energy in the culture, and people drop their entire careers to go work for Amazon, go work for Tesla, go work for Apple back in the 80s and 90s and things like that. It has that vibe. People like Livingston, coaches like Livingston, don't give up their entire career paths on a whim. They only do it because they truly believe they're joining something special. And I think that's what this move indicates, that the Colorado Buffs under Coach Prime are continuing to build something special.
Yeah, Nick. And I think the point you bring up about the startups and overnight successes is kind of very interesting because you look at Coach Prime, you look at Coach Livingston. They're two guys, people always say, like, oh, wow, Coach Prime, he came out of nowhere. He's such a great coach. Or Coach Livingston, this year, we'll see him be successful. Oh, this is great DC. I wonder where he came from. No overnight success was truly built overnight. These guys, like you said, have grinded. They've done this their entire career. He came in, like you said, as a coffee getting grunt, worked his way up. Now he's the defensive coordinator of a Power 5 football school. This is like dream come true type of stuff, and I think this is going to be incredible. And the work he did for Cincinnati on the Bengals was truly, truly impressive. This is a guy who's done a great job for his whole time there. But I think this past year was the most impressive to me as far as losing Von Bell, losing Jesse Bates at the secondary position, having to come in and bring completely new guys in. They have Cam Taylor-Britt, guy from 2022, come in. They have Dax Hill, a safety from 2022 Michigan, come in. And then most impressively, Jordan Battle, phenomenal season, 82.5 PFF grade for him. Came in 2023 from Alabama. They completely replaced the secondary. And I feel like Bengals fans may correct me one day if they ever watch this video, but you didn't really miss guys like Jesse Bates and Von Bell, who were phenomenal players. He brought in a lot of young secondary players, developed them, and had them ready to go at the NFL level. I think he's going to do exactly the same thing for Colorado. He can get this already phenomenal secondary. They have a ton of good players on this secondary, mainly Travis Hunter is the guy we all know and talk about, but Coach Prime's son as well. There's a lot of great guys in this secondary for Colorado. I think they're going to come in, and just the defense as a whole is going to be great, but his focus on the secondary throughout his career, I think this is going to be elite level secondary, and I think this defense is really going to take the step up because that's what Colorado's need. They need an O-line. They fix that positional problem through transfer portal and one really high-ranking recruit. They need a great defense. I think this latest hire is going to help them get there as well.